Spoke about this at length yesterday, but I want to talk about it more because um, tonight President Obama is giving a national address at 9 p.m. and he will more than likely announce that he has the authority to strike ISIS not only in Iraq, nominally in defense of specific U.S. interests in Iraq, like an embassy, or for humanitarian purposes, like in protecting the Yazidis, but that he has the authority to strike them in Syria. He will be seeking funds from Congress to train Syrian moderate, in quotation, rebels. There are reports out that the CIA is basically running the Free Syrian Army at this point, that they are sending weapons directly to specific fighting units in Syria. He's going to want to look to broaden that authority and make it full-fledged. Supposedly, they're going to be looking for a 36-month, and they'll say month, timeline, because 3 years sounds worse. And what you will not hear is, and he will say, no boots on the ground, but of course that's what they're saying today. What you will not hear is a description on really that ISIS is an imminent threat to the United States, because no one in the intelligence services has made that claim. In fact, to the contrary, all of the intelligence services have said that ISIS is not an imminent threat to the United States. They may be a threat to some U.S. interests in the region, but does that warrant another war is the question you should be asking. And my answer is no on that accord. The other question you should be asking when you hear President Obama speak tonight is, what does success look like? We're going to wipe out ISIS with just air power? No.
No, we've got to back other groups.
No. And if it was possible that air power and these assorted groups on the ground were able to deal with ISIS, why couldn't they? Why have it been so ineffective in the first place? The idea that we're going to have these other groups are going to defeat ISIS after we do some strategic bombing seems ridiculous. But even then, how many more years later do we have to wait for the Uber ISIS that will grow? They'll change their name. But just like our actions created Al-Qaeda in Iraq, which mutated in some respects into ISIS, what will be the next name of the next group that we will create? There's also plenty of, at least studies which show intervening in civil wars does nothing but elongate them. So the final question that you should be asking when you hear tonight is, under what authority can the president drop bombs in Syria, where we have no embassy and where we have no U.S. vital interests, or I should say anything that is American per se? And So there are basically 3 bills in the Congress right now that purport to give President Obama authority to take this action. But understand, as Jack Kingston, the Georgia Republican congressman, said in the New York Times, I think it was yesterday, a lot of people would like to stay on the sideline and say, just bomb the place and tell us about it later. It's an election year. A lot of Democrats don't know how it would play in their party, and Republicans don't want to change anything. We like the path we're on now. We can denounce it if it goes bad and praise it if it goes well and ask him what took him so long. Now, Kingston, to his credit, wants a vote. He's not going to get one. And the real question is, are we going to see any Democrats in Congress? I mean, there's some of them that are demanding a vote. Adam Schiff, Democrat from California, apparently wants one. The CPC is keeping its powder dry, so to speak, until they hear what President Obama has to say. But the idea that they wouldn't demand at least a vote to authorize is just the ultimate in cowardice. Right now, there are 3 proposals, I guess. I don't know that they're quite bills yet. One in the House was presented by Frank Wolf. He introduced a bill that, according to Hayes Brown at Think Progress, one analyst has referred to as insanely broad. It lists at least 4 terrorist groups that the administration has the right to target, as well as, quote, any other emerging regional terrorist groups that share a common violent extremist ideology with such terrorist groups, regional affiliates, or emerging terrorist groups. Basically, anybody. There's no time limit for that authorization. It is indefinite. So President Cruz or President Clinton will be able to continue under that authorization, and seems to allow them boots on the ground when they want to put those in. There are 2 options in the Senate. James Inhofe has a bill where the president is given a wide range of latitude to act just against a smaller list of targets. He would use all necessary and appropriate force in order to defend the national security of the United States against the threat posted by ISIS. Authorization for the use of force against the organization called the Islamic State would also demand the Obama administration provide updates to Congress every 15 days, and then a series of, or I should say every 90 days. The third proposal, Bill Nelson from Florida, has a bill where the president would be able to use appropriate force against ISIS to prevent terrorist attacks on the people and interests of the United States and our allies, but it specifically bars the president from deploying rotational ground troops. And it also includes a sunset clause of 36 months. So that's what's on the table right now. And, of course, the media is drumming the... is beating the war drums. And my understanding is that they will not now paint a picture of you and hang it in the White House if you're a president unless you have a war with Iraq. That is now one of the requirements. So understand that the president's under a lot of pressure because it would suck.
Little thing called signing statements.
That's right. I changed the law. Got to avenge my father. Everybody gets a new Iraq war. That's just the way it is. That way, when the history books get written, I don't look like so much of a jerk off. So if you want that, picture painted of you in the White House to hang up on a wall. Gotta attack Iraq.
History will judge me and you.
That's right. Don't worry, Barry. We won't be alive. Just let the historians decide that. And if you want, once you attack, I'll paint the picture myself.
History's the long way out, right, man?
In other words, right back at you.